It is 1:33 right now on your Tuesday. Thank you for staying with us here on Fox 9 all day. Simone Woolridge here. Great to be with you. We are continuing to follow the breaking news of country music legend Dolly Parton. She has died at the age of 80. And as all of us are sort of processing in this newsroom of this news and what happened, we just wanted to reach out to a couple of people who would, be able to speak to just her how far she reached just music-wise and just her legendary, just who she was as a person. And so we have Chris Carr on the line. He's from K102, Minnesota's country station. Chris, we appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us and for joining us so quickly.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Just talk about your reaction as we're getting this news. What are your thoughts right now?
It's somebody that you never thought was going to go. It's somebody that you've always thought was going to live forever, kind of a Betty White type of thing. And she was 80 years old, and it's just kind of blown me away. I mean, I just found out about it moments ago myself. Kind of the phone went crazy, and to find out that she's gone at 80 is just surreal. It's hard to even imagine. It's very, very sad. She's such a huge icon in our industry, and I mean, she always will be.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting that you say, she was 80, but I think she was one of those people you thought was going to live forever, as you mentioned. It's like when we heard of, Betty White and when we think of Dolly Parton, it's like you don't expect anything to happen to Dolly, but again, 80 years old, but that just goes to show you just how much people loved her and her spirit that she had that I think resonated with so many people. I'm interested to know, as you on the radio side of things, just to think about country music, talk about just her iconic measure there. What would you say about that?
Well, I mean, everybody loved her. I mean, she had a place for everybody in her life. She was just loved by everybody, and she loved everybody. When there was a cause in Nashville or beyond, she was always there. I mean, a true icon. Here she was, what was it, a year and a half ago? She was in a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader uniform, and she was singing on Thanksgiving Day. And I mean, she's just somebody that was always going to be here. And it's really hard to process right now that we're not going to. I mean, I'm just seeing all of this in real time right now that we're just not going to see Dolly like we used to.
Yeah, and we really appreciate you for joining us while also trying to process, all of this news as well. I'm curious. You mentioned, of course, your phone blowing up. What are people saying?
Just it's unreal. I mean, it's only been a few minutes, and it's just. Is it real? People are asking me, is this real? And I'm trying to find out if it's real at the same time. And then I get, a call from you guys. And yeah, sadly, it is real. And it's just been rumors lately about her health. And it's rumors that you kind of wanted to ignore and nothing that you wanted to exploit. And I mean, she is, it's sad to say now, she was an icon in country music and really in all formats and in all music. She is an absolute icon. This is huge.
Yeah, I remember a few months ago, her sister had put out Pray for Dolly, and everyone went crazy because they were like, oh my gosh, no, what happened to Dolly Parton? But I think in that moment, a lot of us got a better understanding of how truly iconic she really is, and it's one of those things of, at that point it wasn't real. She of course had been struggling with some, she had some health issues, and that's why her sister was saying that. But I think a lot of us got a better idea of just how everyone else felt about her just from that moment, because when people thought it was real. And it is unfortunate because now we're at the point where it is real, but I think a lot of us can step back and say she has done so much for so many people.
Yeah. Well, and you look back, I mean, man, since the 1960s really and beyond, and she lost her husband not too long ago. She was with him for decades, and the sadness there, but she was always a devout Christian, and she knew where her husband was going at the time. We know where she is right now, and everybody knows where Dolly Parton is right now. She's in the hands of Jesus.
Yeah, her husband, she was with him for 60 years, and Chris, you probably know, he was sort of in the background, right? I don't think we really saw much of her husband, and that's what he wanted, and she sort of honored that. So I remember when he passed away in 2025, people were like, wait, Dolly's husband, you know, because we never really saw him, but she was like, I'm very much in love with my husband, you know. It was just that he wanted more of that background feel. Chris, I know since you're sort of, you know, processing this too and haven't had a chance to see much, don't know if you saw the fact that her nephew did put out a video. Have you had a chance to see that or no? If not, I can explain it. It's okay.
Haven't even seen it.
Okay, so I'm also processing this too. So I just jumped on Instagram and I saw this this video that her nephew put out, and his name is Brian Seaver, and this is how we knew. Oh, Ryan actually says, he just came into my ear. He says that we have this video. Yeah, Ryan, if we could cue that up. Yes, the one from Instagram. Yep, if we could cue that up, because then also, Chris, you'll be able to see it with us as well, and then you can sort of react to that if that's okay.
Sure.
Okay, let's do that.
Hey everyone, my name is Brian Seaver, son of Cassie Parton, and I'm representing the Parton and Owens family today, announcing the passing of my Aunt Dolly Rebecca Parton Dean, sister, sis, Aunt Granny to one generation, and Gigi to the next. This video announcement is something Dolly asked of me years ago, before I fully absorbed it as a future reality. As her head of security for more than 2 decades, a role my father Larry held before me, I have imagined the heaviness of this moment, but haven't truly felt it until now. It is an honor that is mixed with absolute pride and great sadness. But sadness lies with us, not with Dolly. Dolly has lived in the light and is in the arms of Jesus, surely met by Carl, her parents, and countless others who have watched her and longed for her to meet them in the heavens. I first went on the road with Dolly as a kid, getting a taste of the road life in the early 1980s. Dolly opened doors not just for me, but for her entire family to reach the potential we didn't even know was possible. Dolly also opened doors for generations of singers, songwriters, musicians, and dreamers from every walk of life and across every continent. By her example, we believed that anything was possible. She never saw a door she couldn't open, and the doors she opened made and changed history. My family and I have shared a lifetime of beautiful memories with Dolly, but so have you. She has always been on your television, your record player, your CD, and on your phone playlist, becoming an extended part of your family whether you liked it or not. Our family and the team she has entrusted with her legacy will work diligently to ensure her spirit will live with us forever. Dolly was a farmer, just like her daddy. He farmed the soil, she farmed songs and happiness. Dolly called me and said she wants to rest in a beautiful bed of plush cotton because after a life wearing heavy rhinestones, she finally deserves to be comfortable and have some rest. Rest in peace, Aunt Dolly, Aunt Granny, Gigi. May God bless Dolly Parton, and may God bless you all. She will always love you.
All right, Chris, what are your thoughts?
I mean, he said it. I wish I had a chance to see that just before. I mean, that really hits you. But yeah, she had an impact on everybody, and her love was unconditional. She was kind of like either everybody's grandmother or everybody's mother. It depends on who you are. You know, she just had that kind of impact on everybody. And I've interviewed her many times.
Oh, you have?
She was always wonderful.
Okay.
I used to talk to Kenny Rogers about her, you know, not to sound like a name dropper, but Kenny and Dolly had just the most fascinating relationship, and everybody thought they were dating back in the day, and they never were. She was always loyal to her husband, obviously, and but she sang songs with Kenny, and they just had a very comedic relationship and a very loving relationship. And here in the last few years, now we've lost both of them, so it's really tough to process right now. I mean, she is, I know we've said this word so many times, but she's absolutely an icon. And from young to very old, she has affected so many people, and all of them in a very, very positive way. Can't think of too many people in country music or really in anything in show business that moved people quite like Dolly Parton, and that were so happy and fun to be around like Dolly Parton. That's the truth. I mean, country music is just it's a great place to be. All of the artists are so approachable and so fun and so friendly. She really set the standard for that. She was really probably the first to really set the standard for that.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking of the songs that stick out most to me. You talk about Jolene, you talk about 9 to 5, and those are just the ones that I feel like You know, you mentioned from younger to older, you can have little kids singing Jolene. There have been so many renditions of, you know, those songs. And so it just goes to show just her, I mean, ability to go within, we've even seen it in different genres. I think Ryan, our producer Ryan, mentioned, you know, Beyonce, of course, you know, redid Jolene. So it's like even different genres we hop into as well. And her nephew mentioned there in that video, he said something that stuck out. He said, she has always been on your record player. And as someone on the radio side, I'm sure you can speak to that.
Absolutely. And everybody's listened to Hard Candy Christmas and all the Christmas songs from Dolly Parton. So if you weren't into country music, you heard her during Christmas time, or if you're watching the Hallmark Channel, or if you're watching a movie, like you said, 9 to 5. And then don't forget, I Will Always Love You. You know, the song made famous by Dolly and then made famous again by Whitney Houston. And she credited Whitney the way Whitney sang it, that only Dolly Parton would. You know, Dolly sang it her way, Whitney sang it her way, and she just loved everybody. It's so weird to say was in the context of Dolly Parton, but she was just an incredible artist. And 80's too young for her. It just is.
And I feel like you're speaking for a lot of us too, because, you know, when some people, and I'm just being candid here, when some people see 80, you're like, okay, you have lived, you know, a long, hopefully beautiful life. But when you see 80 and you're talking about Dolly, you're like, 80, like she has much more life to live, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, she would talk about her hair. She would talk about her looks. I mean, and everybody knows what that entails with Dolly Parton. She was forthright about everything, and look at her. She was always trying to be as youthful as possible, but that's from that inner spirit that is Dolly Parton. Yeah. You know, that's from who she is as a person. And she had that glow, and she always wanted to look young, and to me, she always did.
I know, you know, Chris, I was trying to think back. I was like, have we ever seen Dolly not dressed up? I feel like we always see her with, you know, the big hair, the flashy jewelry, you know, the dresses. And then even at 80, she was still stepping in heels. So I'm like, dude, have we ever seen Dolly dressed down? And maybe in sweatpants? I don't think I ever have seen it.
Now that you're bringing it up, I'm trying to think, and I've seen everybody. I've seen Vince Gill backstage at the CMAs. So many people when they're warming up for the CMAs, and Reba for the CMAs, backstage or at the ACMs, and they're wearing sweatpants or they're wearing cutoffs or whatever. And Dolly was always decked out. I mean, she showed up ready to play every single time. So I've never seen her in sweatpants. I don't know if her husband had ever seen her in sweatpants.
Probably even when I think about, because I'm just thinking about just her in general and what she would wear, even down to the nails. Now that we talk about it, Chris, I'm like, I don't think I've ever not seen her with her nails done.
Yeah,
she was just fabulous.
So well put together. And by the way, the times that I'd met her and had gotten a hug from her, she always smelled really good too. So the two best smelling people in country music are Dolly Parton, sadly was Dolly Parton, and Keith Urban, two of the best smelling people in country music. Yeah.
Wait, okay, so this is like kind of a weird question, but I hope it's not really weird. What did Dolly smell like?
Kind of
sweet.
I like spring. Just kind of springy, summery.
Okay.
I don't know. I can't really explain it. Keith Urban, I can't explain it at all. Maybe Keith Urban's like leather.
Leather?
In a way.
Okay.
And Dolly Parton is just like springtime, like just spring air. I don't know. And lavender, maybe a little bit of lavender.
And I feel like that doesn't surprise me at all. It's very like fitting, I feel like, for Dolly, when you think of her just being like this spirit of like, I don't know, just this aura about her that I feel like we could all just feel. I mean, for you were lucky enough to interview her and be around her, but I think even for people at home, you just felt like you knew her in general. So even something like that of like smelling like spring just sounds like Dolly to me. Chris, I want to continue talking just for a second. I know you probably have to go too, and again, you're kind of processing some of this in real time also while you're joining us. We do want to fit in one commercial break. And if you do have a couple of minutes on the back end to join us, we would love to continue the conversation. Is that okay?
Anything for Dolly. Absolutely.
Anything for Dolly. Okay, sounds good. Let's take a break. We'll be right back after this with more. Fox 9 all day after the passing of Dolly Parton at the age of 80. We'll be right back. We continue, to follow this breaking news after learning about the passing of music icon Dolly Parton. She has died at the age of 80. We just wanted to take a moment to look back at her life. We do have a story queued up. This is just a look back at her life from Fox News. So we can take a look at this, and then also on the back end of it, I wanted to bring back Chris Carr from K102, Minnesota's country station, just to talk about her and just, as all of us just continue to process this news. Let's take a look.
Known for her songwriting, unique fashion, and over-the-top personality, Dolly Parton was not only a music icon, but a trailblazer. Born on January 19, 1946 in Locust Ridge, Tennessee, to Robert Lee Parton and Avie Lee Owens, Parton, the fourth of 12 children, grew up in a one-room cabin in the Smoky Mountains.
There was a boy who loved me dearly.
An early love for music led her to begin writing songs in grade school and making her first appearance at the Grand Ole Opry in 1959 at only 13 years old. No mountain was too high for Parton when she packed her bags after graduating high school and moved to Nashville to begin chasing her musical dreams. She married her longtime husband, Carl Dean, in 1966 and got her first shot at stardom a year later when she joined the Porter Wagner Show in 1967.
And I was lucky that I got a chance to be that exposed to that many people at one time, and that was really what kind of shot me up there and got me a good grip.
After 7 years on the show, Parton decided to pursue her career as a solo artist, and in 1971 debuted her first #1 solo hit, Joshua, followed by other chart toppers like Love Is Like a Butterfly, I Will Always Love You, and Jolene. Parton earned many honors and accolades over the decades, including her inductions into the Grand Ole Opry in 1969 and the Country Music Hall of Fame in 1999. She also was awarded the Library of Congress Living Legend Medal in 2004.
I don't know how you're doing on the inside, honey, but your hair's just holding up beautiful.
Parton was introduced to a new audience while acting in famous films, including Steel Magnolias and 9 to 5. She was also known for her business and humanitarian work. Her theme park in Tennessee, Dollywood, opened in 1985, and her charity, Imagination Library, provides over 1 million free books to children each month. Dolly Parton was always busy, from philanthropy to new endeavors, and received recognition throughout her entire career. In November 2022, she was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Parton initially withdrew her nomination, noting she didn't feel deserving, but later accepted. She released her first rock album, Rockstar, the following year. Among the collaborators on the collection, her goddaughter, Miley Cyrus. In 2024, she announced her life story was heading to Broadway in the musical Hello, I'm Dolly, set to open in 2026. The same year, she launched her own cosmetics brand, Dolly Beauty, and a wine label, Dolly Wines. She released new music that year, too, with Dolly Parton and Family, Smoky Mountain DNA, Family, Faith, and Fables. On March 3, 2025, Parton's husband, Carl Dean, passed away at the age of 82. The two spent nearly 60 years together. June 2025, Dolly announced a limited engagement Las Vegas residency for December. But in September, posted on social media she had to postpone due to health challenges. In her signature Dolly style, she humorously added, "It must be time for my 100,000-mile checkup, although it's not the usual trip to see my plastic surgeon." Dolly told fans she was going to slow down so she can be ready for more big adventures, and shared her love and thanks. With 68 albums and more than 25 #1 hits, Dolly Parton lived her life not straying far from her roots, always keeping a positive outlook on life and her career.
I can look back on a lot of things that's happening. I think, oh, thank you, God. At least my life seems to have made a difference and to have meant something to a lot of people.
Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
Man, I feel like so many things to process there, Chris. Chris Carr joining me, K102, Minnesota's country station. Chris, we just watched that together, a look back at Dolly Parton's life. I feel like so many things that I heard there, I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot about that. I forgot about that. Yeah. But that just goes to show how many things she did. And then we ended it there with, I Will Always Love You, which a lot of us remember, of course, Whitney Houston, but Dolly Parton the first.
Yeah. And man, 1959, 13 years old on the Grand Ole Opry stage. I mean, that's just incredible. And she used to say, find out who you are and do it on purpose, is what Dolly Parton used to say. And one thing that I think a lot of people need to know about Dolly right now is Dolly's happy. Dolly is where she always knew she was going to be. And she's with her husband, and she's in heaven, and she's with Jesus. She is very, very happy right now. Nobody needs to worry about Dolly Parton anymore. I mean, what we thought about earlier this morning or weeks ago or last September when she said, hey, I got to take some time off. It's time for my 100,000-mile checkup, saying things the way only Dolly Parton can say them. It's just, we don't have to worry about any of that anymore. All the rumors, all the rumors of her health and everything, we don't need to worry about any of that anymore.
Yeah, just to know too that even throughout that, like she planned her residency in Vegas, she was still working up into her death and even wanted to do even more. I'm curious, Chris, from the, country side of things, country music, what did she do for, the younger artists that we see now? What did she bring to country music?
Everything. And a hug. And you're going to get through this. And everything's going to be all right. And storms make stronger trees. Great quotes like that only came from Dolly Parton. Now, there's another one. What did she used to say? If you want the rainbow, you got to put up with the rain. I mean, so she was always there and very present in the artists of today, the ones that are just coming out. I mean, I know people like Ella Langley today and Morgan Wallen and I mean, obviously that on that end, and then you've got Garth Brooks and everybody in between, the Keith Urbans and the Kenny Chesneys, the Miranda Lamberts, Carrie Underwood are all really trying to process her
Chris
story.
Stapleton probably too, yeah.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. The biggest names in country are all stopping right now. They've all hit the brakes, no matter what they're doing. If they're in a recording session, they're taking a break right now.
Yeah, I can only imagine Dollywood right now too. When we think of just the reactions coming out right now out of Tennessee, she is so loved in the state of Tennessee, but of course beyond as well. As you, as someone who, we're getting a look right now. Oh yeah, see, as people are starting to react to this, to hear this news. This is her Hollywood star. You can see crowds kind of gathering there. I'm assuming, a lot of people will be placing even more flowers. I am sure this will grow tremendously over the course of time. Chris, I want to thank you so much for your time. You were in the process of learning this news, and we just, called you and asked if you can join us. So we really appreciate your time, and we will, of course, continue to follow the very latest after learning about country music legend Dolly Parton has died at the age of 80. Thank